Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to address something that I think needs to be addressed for all of the moms out there that have been watching my videos or that have heard me talk about my kids, or you see my Instagram or my Facebook and everything looks perfect. It's not. So I wanted to kind of give a real look into my life and tell you exactly how having two kids is while I have the chance. I've got both babies asleep. The other one's back here, in the back seat of the car, and I just wanted to go ahead and video this while I have a chance, while they're being quiet. So, first I want to start off with, no, having two kids is not easy. Yes, though my kids are easy kids, doesn't mean every second of every day is going to be easy. It's not. I have exceptionally good children. Ellie sleeps most of the day. She doesn't really do much yet, which makes it easier, but it's still so hard to cart around two kids. It's hard to travel with two kids. It's hard to be at other people's houses with two kids. When we're home alone, it's not that hard, but when we're at other people's houses or when we're in the vehicle trying to go somewhere, it's hard. It's hard to keep both of them happy at the same time, especially when we're in a place like a vehicle where it's contained and I can't quite get to both of them. So yeah, that's hard. It's also hard because, there's two of them, so everything I was used to with Bella doesn't work with two kids. Everything had to be changed. So bedtime routines had to be changed. Morning routines had to be changed. Practically everything had to be changed. Now I have to put them both to sleep at the same time, because if I don't, then things go bad during the night. And it's just something that you have to learn, and it's something that you have to experiment with. So no, at first it was extremely hard. Even though Ellie was sleeping a lot, because newborns sleep a lot, things were still extremely hard. Things were still not easy. But after the first couple of weeks, you really get into your own routine and you really learn, just like you do after having one kid. Having one kid at first is not easy, but you get into such a routine and you learn what your kid likes and what you can do to keep them happy. And it's the same way with two. It's the same way with more than two. You just learn what your kids like and how you can keep them contained and happy at the same time. So when I hear people say, like, well, you have easy babies. Well, because I have easy babies doesn't mean that my days are always easy. It doesn't mean that I don't still have to wake up with my kids at night. Even though they may sleep through the night, most of the time, you're still going to have hard nights. And you're still going to have hard times. Like Bella, I think she might be waking up. Her foot's twitching. She still wakes up through the night sometimes. Even though they sleep 12 hours most of the time, sometimes she's teething. And sometimes they have head colds, like the past couple of weeks. It's hard to hear stuff like that. Like, oh, well, it must be easy because your kids are really easy. Or when I go to people's houses and they're like, your kids aren't bad at all. Well, you should see them sometimes. Sometimes they are bad, and that's okay because they're just kids. They're allowed to be bad. It's just, I don't want to put off the impression that my kids are the easiest kids and it's so easy, because it's not. It's not easy. Two kids is not, it's not a walk in the park, and especially two under two. And that's another reason why I wanted to start this channel. It's another reason why I wanted to do this, was to be able to put a realistic approach out that it's not always flowers and butterflies. Things are not always that way, and that's okay. It's allowed to be hard sometimes. So I did just want to get this video out and kind of talk about it for a minute, because I have been traveling with both of them, and we've been going back and forth for a while now. Since Ellie was born, Bella's been carted back and forth between people's houses, just trying to help me out. That first week she was mostly with other people, so that was really hard. And I don't know, she's my baby, and not being able to see my baby, or she's so used to my discipline and me being the disciplinary that when she went to other people's houses, it was hard for her coming back to be back with me being the disciplinary when she had gotten used to other people again. So that was hard as well. But I think if I could give some of the best tips for having children, it would be, I don't know, start a routine and stick to it. If you stray from your routine, it's gonna mess your kids up. And that's what we've been dealing with this week. Instead of them waking up at 7, I had to wake them up at 5 to get ready to come down to Texas to see my mom. So that definitely messed with them, and it messed with their routine. And so whenever we got on the road, we couldn't get Ellie to wake up to eat because she thought it was still nighttime. She still wanted to sleep. So she didn't eat for a good another 8 to 9 hours. So that was rough. And it was just because she got out of her routine, and she just didn't know. We all had this horrible head cold and like stomach bugs, so we were already kind of messed up, and just having to travel on top of all of that was hard. Even Bella got messed up that first night. We couldn't get her to go back to sleep. She just cried and cried and cried and screamed and cried, and finally my mom had to take her in there to her bed and just watch some TV with her until she just fell asleep. And Bella's not the kind of kid that's like that. She's normally the kind of kid that will lay by herself and put herself to sleep at night. Naps are always hard. She always cries at naps, but I think every kid's that way. She is okay with bedtime. She'll lay down, she won't cry, and she'll just put herself to sleep. Sometimes she sings, but that first night was so rough. And it just reminded me that, hey, you need to be sticking to your routine. You need to be making sure to watch the time and make sure that at 6:30 they get their baths and they're in bed by 7, because if they're not, things go badly. They're rough. So that would be probably my biggest tip, is to find a routine. Get a bedtime routine and stick to it. Stick to the time. Never go outside of your bedtime routine more than 30 minutes, or your kids, they're going to sleep differently, and they're not going to sleep as well than if you had your good routine. And that sucks for your kids, not just for you. I'm sorry, it's kind of windy. I have the windows down for the kids. So that sucks for everybody, and your kids need better sleep than that. And what's your excuse for not having a good routine? Is it that it inconveniences you it's an inconvenience not to be able to have that kind of leeway at nighttime? I mean, what else do you have to do at 7 or 8 o'clock at night with 2 kids? Nothing. So just get a routine and make sure that you're sticking with it for your kids. I don't know. I guess that's about it. If I had any other tip, it would be the bedtime routine, just because it's so important, and you need to be doing the exact same thing every night. So we do bath time, and then we do lotion, and we get Bella dressed, we get Ellie dressed, and we swaddle Ellie. We give Bella warm milk, and we pray, and then after we pray, we read a book, and then she goes to sleep. Lights go off. They have a box fan that goes on every night. They have essential oils that go on every night, and we never stray from that. If we do, it shows in their sleep, and sometimes they just won't go to sleep without it. And it's just so much easier on everyone. It's easier for mom, it's easier for dad, it's easier on everyone. The kids sleep better, they act better. You'll notice a difference in your kids' attitude the next day after getting good, restful sleep, that they feel better. And don't we all want our kids to feel good? Because when they feel good, we don't have to deal with them. We don't have to deal with the attitude when they feel good enough to act well. So I think that's a good tip, is the routine. And another tip is to make sure that your kid's getting the sleep that they need during the day as well. So that means make sure that they're getting the amount of naps that they need, because if they're not, sorry, I'm putting bottles down. I'm trying to make sure everything's ready because I know Ellie's about to wake up. Make sure that they're getting the naps that they need and that they're getting enough sleep during the day so that at nighttime they're not going to be overtired and it's not going to be as hard to get them down. That's what a lot of people mess up with, is that you run your kids until they're so tired that they are little monsters for bedtime. And nobody wants that. Nobody wants bedtime to be stressful and, I don't know, you want bedtime to be fun for your kids. You don't want it to be a fight every single night for your kid to go down for sleep. That's not how we want the last moment of your day with your children to be. So make sure that they're getting enough naps. Make sure that they are getting fed enough through the day, that they're not hungry at bedtime. Fill their bellies before their naps. A full belly and something to drink will really help right before a nap to get them settled and tired enough to go to sleep. You don't have to run your kid for hours and hours to make them tired enough to sleep. I promise, if you get into a routine, it will be fine. It'll be good. And that's just my biggest tips for having two. It's just, I know it's hard to get them both down at the same time, and I know it's hard to do both. But if you can get them both on the same routine, it's a breeze. And I've said it multiple times, but bedtime is the most chaotic part of my day, just because there's two of them doing the exact same routine. But we do it that way because if I can get them both asleep at the same time, then I have me time, and they get good sleep. And I can have time with my husband, and I can have time to be by myself and watch shows and for me to eat supper. So I guess that's about it. I mean, that's what makes it really easy on me, is to have them both doing the exact same thing. And not only that, but to make sure that they are both having the same routine during the day. So if I can get them both down for naps at the same time, I can keep my house clean. I've had people ask me, well, how do you have two kids, how do you keep your house clean? How do you keep the laundry up? How do you make sure lunch is cooked? Because my kids nap. Both of them nap at the same time. So if I can get them both down, I can get everything done fast. I can get my makeup done. I can have me time. And that's all without my child having screen time. I don't have to sit her in front of a TV for her to let me do stuff. I just don't. She plays by herself and she has fun. So I guess that's all. If you have any questions for tips or tricks on how to do anything with two kids, let me know. I can make a video on it. But I did want to let everyone know that my life is realistic and it's not perfect. And two kids is hard. Even though it may not be super hard all the time, I do have bad days, and they have bad days. They're allowed to. They're humans. So yeah, I think that's all. Let me know if y'all have any ideas, or if you have any questions of things that you need videos on, or if you want to know any tricks, or if you want to know what products I like, I can put that video out. I have several products that have really helped me with having a newborn and a 1-year-old, so if you want to see that video, I can put that out. But just let me know and I'll get to making them. So thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, ring the notification bell so that whenever I post, you can be notified and you can watch it before anyone else. So thank you guys so much, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.